Well, good afternoon, Club 17, and welcome to one more Rotarian Spotlight. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer every day to hopefully meeting once again in person back in the Hall of Mirrors. But until then, I think our Rotarian Spotlights and our live meetings will carry us through that. So today, we're really fortunate to have Jim Hudson be with us today. Good afternoon, Jim.
Hi, Dave. Good afternoon to you.
Well, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking a little bit about your background, but we're fortunate to have you as a member in our club. For those that don't know, Jim is the executive director of the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Cincinnati, and I think you've been a Rotarian since 2012, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I was actually in the Rotary in California a little bit before that, and I moved to Cincinnati in 2011. And it already had such a positive experience with the Rotary. So eventually It was an easy decision to join this club.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your career history. You kind of started that a little bit, but maybe a little bit about your family and maybe some of your personal hobbies and interests.
Yeah. Well, my family is here in Cincinnati. My parents live literally just a couple hundred yards from the Hilton, down at the Banks right now. And my brothers and sisters, most of them live here in town. But I spent most of my adult life out of Cincinnati, all working in the nonprofit world, both in Toledo and Chicago and Virginia and California. So I had traveled lots of different places, but made my way back like a lot of people in Cincinnati did back in 2011, and had a lot of experience with people with disabilities prior in my career. So the Down Syndrome Association was a great fit when I was looking for the next chapter. Love what I do. More importantly, I love who we serve and just the alignment with the Rotary as well. I think I went to kind of a new member reception or even kind of a guest when I first moved back here, and hearing some of the backstory of this club caring for people with disability literally for decades, if not close to 100 years, really grabbed my heart right away.
Exactly. Yeah, we certainly have a history of that from the Condon School back, in 1920-ish and all the way through today. So
yeah.
How about a fun fact about Jim that maybe no other Rotarian knows?
A fun fact. I don't know if it's fun, but something that people wouldn't know, because I try to stay active and run and play golf and exercise. But I came very close to being paralyzed in 2011. And I actually have a steel plate holding me together, in my neck. And most people wouldn't know that looking around. But again, it's something that has formed my heart for people with disabilities, because literally within a fraction of a millimeter, when I broke my neck, I probably should be paralyzed. So,
oh my gosh.
Walk every day, run every day. Was looking forward to the Flying Pig half marathon, and always that first 100 yards or so, I'm like, thank you, Lord, that I'm even able to run and walk, today. So
absolutely.
I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it is a fact that most people want to know about me.
Well, I think it's probably more fun than it was back in 2011.
Yes. Yes.
Well, as executive director of the Down Syndrome Association, tell us a little bit about what your typical day looks like, and then, right now in this COVID-19 crisis, how that's morphed and changed.
Well, I sat with our staff over Zoom the other day, and we counted back 47 days on Monday from the time in which we had to kind of announce that we were ceasing all of our programming through, at that point, just the end of March. And boy, have things, changed a great deal. Our whole staff is working remotely right now. We value a lot of our in-service programs and opportunities for people to connect. And so there's been a sense of loss of that, but we're still trying to do it virtually. And we're looking forward to being able to do that moving forward. But, kind of right now, we're like a lot of businesses. We're not sure what the nature of what we do will look like and what the timing will be. But we're certainly looking forward to being able to connect with people again face to face. We were supposed to have a new parent reception this Saturday. And that's one of my favorite events of the year. And selfishly, I love hugging a lot of little babies. And there's a sense of loss in my heart that, we can't do stuff like that right now. But, we'll pivot well and we'll adjust. But it is definitely not how I expected us to be spending our spring.
In a matter of a couple of weeks, it all changed. So,
Yes.
but I think one of the things that takes place in this whole process is that creativity abounds, and you're forced to think outside the box, as the cliche says. And there's a lot of organizations, including it sounds like yours, that are doing that same thing.
Yeah, we had a virtual dance party with 47 adults last Friday night, and we're going to start doing those, kind of every other week. And in a couple weeks, we're going to open it up to kids and adults of all ages. So I look forward to kind of seeing that a 3-year-old on the computer screen, dancing next to a 45-year-old, but all giggling and I'm sure having a great time.
I think a few Rotarians might be interested in that session.
They are welcome. If they reach out to me, I'll give them the passcode.
Well, tell me a little bit about your Rotary experience. You, as you mentioned, you've been a Rotarian here, but you had an experience prior to that. So tell me a little bit about your full experience and maybe some of your fondest memories.
Yeah, it's been interesting to be in 2 different clubs, and I think it says a lot about just the different culture of Rotary clubs. Our club is much larger than the one in California I was in. California is a lot more laid back, so you didn't see many coat and ties in California. You had even people in shorts every once in a while. But some of the things that I've loved about the Rotary is the opportunities to serve without leading. Because I lead a lot in my work world, and being able to jump in and help serve a meal at Ronald McDonald House, and just knowing other members of the club are really doing a lot of that organizational work really frees people like me to come and just be a servant and activities like that. In terms of kind of personally, one of the meetings that I look forward to every year, and I think it's supposed to be coming up, is kind of the Wally Emmering Award. And every year when I sit there, even if I don't know the Rotarian very well, it's always very moving to see the legacy of people who've given and served this community and our club literally for decades. And that's one of the things I love about our club.
Well, hopefully we're going to have it on May the 28th. Cross our fingers.
I hope so.
Assuming we can meet by then, but if we can, it'll be another amazing day to celebrate that recipient's success over time. So. Well, Jim, I think I want to thank you, first of all, for taking the time to be with us today. And certainly you've been a visible member in our club for a long, long period of time. And we're all looking forward to being back together so we can, I don't know if we'll be shaking hands, but at least being with each other and enjoying each other's company while we're trying to serve together to help those in need. So we're looking forward to that day. And for all of the Rotarians out there, I think obviously in the last few minutes, why Jim is a leader in our community in serving those that really need his help and his group's help in great depth. So thanks again, Jim, for being here.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate all you're doing.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.